What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here coming back at y'all with another episode of the 2 Minute Drill. Tuesday, May 25th, man. And yeah, we had a breaking news episode yesterday when this was announced, but we wanted to kind of bring like an in-depth thing after everything kind of settled down, do a little bit of research, and really talk about what the TJ Finley transfer to Auburn means for not only Auburn, but TJ Finley himself and what his loss might be for the LSU Tigers. So without, without wasting too much time, shout out to y'all for getting us to 200 subscribers. We're working some stuff out with the company, so those announcements will come out tomorrow, and we're putting in the order for the merch tomorrow. So tune in May 26th to hear the announcement of the 5 winners of the giveaway. So we had to get some stuff worked out before we announced, but we are announcing tomorrow, and all the merch was mailed out today to all our first 5 winners. So y'all should be getting y'all's merch by the end of this week, maybe early next week, depending on where y'all live. We had some, I live in Kansas, so everything's far from Kansas. So I had to mail it across the country to some people. So shout out to y'all for supporting the Blue Bloods, and make sure to subscribe now to enter yourself in that giveaway. Road to 1K here on the Blue Bloods. But Brandon, let's waste no time. I see what you're wearing. I feel like that's not, by accident. You weren't on the breaking news episode because you got a real job, unlike your boy. I can kind of record at weird times sometimes, but how did you feel about TJ Finley taking his talents to Auburn?
So anybody who listens to this podcast might have a good idea, or listens to the 2 Minute Drill might even have a good idea. What I think about TJ Finley. I love the kid. There's nothing else I can say about that. Even if I wanted to say something negative about him, I don't think it would come off as sincere. So I'm not going to sit here and do that today, Zach. I think that he realized that he was probably going to be the 3rd quarterback on the depth chart, at least going into this next season, if not the 4th. LSU has some good talent coming in this freshman year in the quarterback room. But I don't know. I mean, he wasn't going to get a shot at LSU. Max Johnson is in his class. So even if Max Johnson played for 3 years and then decided, you know what, I'm going to go to the draft early, TJ Finley would only have 1 year, and then Nussmeier might even be the starting quarterback. So what are you going to do about that? I understand his transfer. Zach, the thing I don't understand is why Auburn. Do you have any insight as to what kind of drove this decision? Or I know he's from Ponchatoula, Louisiana, so I mean that's dead in the center of LSU country. And I thought it was a weird thing to throw Houston in the mix as one of his destinations. So part of me was like, maybe Houston, like maybe there's something going on there. But what's going on?
So I feel like the only thing we can kind of go off of is what he's said so far, and then his 4 choices. And by the way, guys, we have reached out to TJ Finley. Fingers crossed, maybe he'll hit us up and we can ask him. But based on what he said, Brandon, the 2 things he was looking for in a school is 1, an opportunity to compete for the starting job this year. He wasn't transferring to be a backup. And 2, he wanted to be in a major conference, preferably the SEC. Is what he said. Those were his 2 criteria, and based on what I've heard, and I've said this on the live stream too. When you look at his 4 choices, let's say 1, he wanted to compete for the QB1 role. For me, that automatically threw out Alabama.
Yeah, right.
He wasn't going to beat Bryce Young for the starting quarterback job, and then you aren't even guaranteed a QB2 role because Jalen Milroe just got there as a freshman out of Texas, and he was a top 100 recruit, and that kid's a baller. I am a huge Jalen Milroe fan, and Alabama is going to be very pleased with what he brings to the table. So that eliminated them. 2, Houston was a big, I guess, red flag for me. I was like, okay, that's kind of close, actually. Like, that's an interesting choice. But then I was like, well, the second thing he said is he wanted to play in a big conference. That eliminated Houston for me off the bat. I'm like, he's not, he said his preference is the SEC, but I don't think he's going to take a step down to a group of 5 school. Right. And so that eliminated Houston right there. And that program hasn't been at its highest point in a few years now. And so I don't think he saw an opportunity to really put himself on the biggest stage, because it's not Houston in 2016, Brandon. It's Houston in 2021 after players quit on their coach. Right. So And then I looked at the final two options. Brandon, I really believe this was a Penn State Auburn battle. But the thing is, I feel like the Penn State job has a clear favorite right now, according to our Big Ten in 31 Days episode. They really have a clear favorite right now with Sean Clifford still at that QB1 role. And Penn State's really not a school that you see switch quarterbacks a lot, Brandon. Once you get the QB1 role at Penn State, that's kind of that's your guy moving forward. And so he's been the quarterback for now, going into his third year. I'm not sure if that job is as open as people would like to believe. And then you had, I believe it's Will Levis as the backup, who is a clear number two and has been hyped up to take over that QB role after Clifford is gone. So that leaves Auburn, Brandon, is the one school in the conference that he wanted to play in, Brandon, and two, an opportunity to start immediately and compete with Bo Nix, who has been under a lot of scrutiny, and a lot of the clamor is that we want another quarterback, and two, Penn State's not in the SEC, Auburn is, so that's two boxes checked for Auburn. It's the only school in his Final Four that checked both boxes, and two, Brandon, it's the only school on his list that had a new head coach. Right. And what do we know about head coaches? New head coaches have no ties to former players. Brian Harsin didn't recruit Bo Nix. Brian Harsin didn't start Bo Nix these past 2 years, and now they got a whole new offense under Mike Bobo and Brian Harsin. And so when I heard that they were recruiting TJ Finley hard, well, I get that our QB room lacked depth, Brandon. We have a senior in Grant Lloyd who's a graduate transfer who isn't ever going to step on the field for Auburn in any real capacity. That was the worry. Then you got Bo Nix as a junior now, and then you got incoming true freshman Demetrius Davis, who we cover on this podcast. I love this kid out in North Shore, but he's not ready to play yet, Brandon. To be an all-actual, everything for spring practice said he's not ready to step on the field. Well, that leaves a huge spot for a graduate transfer senior who you don't want to play, and then a true freshman who's not ready to play. So what happens now, Brandon? Is there any pressure on Bo Nix? What happens if Bo Nix goes down? So I think that kind of drove the TJ Finley recruitment. And I really think, Brandon, this is going to be one of the most highly competitive QB competitions in the country. And there's a lot of Auburn people out there who will like to make you think this isn't a competition. I'm here to tell you, based on everything I've read, everything I know about this Auburn program, and knowing Brian Harsin from what he's talked about, this is an open quarterback competition down in Auburn, and this fall is going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Oh, absolutely, Zach. And you're getting a talented quarterback here. A lot of people overlook TJ Finley and kind of harp on, and this is what I'm sure a lot of Auburn fans are looking at and why they're kind of underplaying this. The way he performed against Auburn last season was terrible. It's the reason – that's the real reason that he ended up getting benched for Max Johnson. I know he might have played, against Alabama, but he ended up getting benched again. I don't know, man. Over his 5 games that he started, he passed for nearly 1,000 yards. He passed for, I think, like 940 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
Only 5 touchdowns, though. Only 5 passing touchdowns and 1 on the ground, which I'd like to see a little bit more improvement there. 5 interceptions. I think like 6 of those came in the Auburn game. So out of – I don't know. I'd like to see a little bit more consistency, but I know the potential's there. You guys heard me talk about it, I believe, last week on the 2-minute drill. The potential is definitely there for TJ Finley. And if someone's willing to work with him, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he ended up starting for Auburn next season.
See, I want to offer an asterisk, though, on that. One was, did anyone at LSU expect TJ Finley to see the field last year outside of the injury?
No, absolutely not.
I don't think he was ready to play last year. I think he's a lot better. He's going to be a lot better in his second time around. And 2, can we take a look at what this LSU team was when he had to take over?
Yeah.
Well, let's look at. I got like a 5-point checklist here, Brandon. Where was the morale for this entire LSU program when he got to take over?
It was non-existent.
Yeah, exactly. The worst. They were what, 1-3 or something like that, or 2, maybe 2.
Let me put it this way, Zach. You've been to Death Valley. You know how loud it is, right? Mm-hmm. It was like dead quiet at most points during the season last year. It was terrible. Like even the fans are out of it, and that's nuts. That's insane to think the LSU fans are out of the game.
Yeah, and then 2, Brandon, how about that run game?
It's not there. Well, it could have been there, but the coaches decided they wanted to start 3 different running backs for whatever reason.
So you give a true freshman quarterback who is taking over a team that's kind of already in despair, and then you don't offer him any help on the ground. Now, that sounds like the worst recipe for success for a true freshman quarterback of all time. And then 2 or 3, my bad. How about the morale of those wide receivers? Terrence Marshall getting ready to opt out. Eric Gilbert, trying to figure out what's going on with him and ended up transferring. I mean, I don't think he was completely bought in. Then that we had opt-outs. I mean, outside of, I believe it was Keyshawn Boutte, were we really excited about that wide receiving unit?
Terrace Marshall?
Well, he ended up opting out the next game, I believe, didn't he?
Okay, fair.
So, I mean, so he was kind of already checked out. So it's not like he took over the LSU wide receiving corps with Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and, I feel like we have to keep everything in perspective. And then 4, were there any 3 better opponents other than maybe Florida that he had to face?
No.
And 2 of them were on the road. And listen, I get it. Auburn might not have been very good last year. I'm not, if we're going to argue that. We were terrible. Or as Charles Barkley would say, terrible. But Brandon, you've been to Jordan-Hare. That's one of the hardest environments to play in. And then you jump out. So let's look at what happened to TJ Finley. Yes, the first interception, Brandon, terrible pass. He overthrew the dude by 15 feet. And it just happens that in zone coverage, I believe it was Nehemiah Pritchett was there, and he just was there. But look at his other turnovers, Brandon. Big Cat Bryant bull rushes the offensive tackle right into him, gets a strip sack. The other one, it's a tip pass, and the defensive lineman ends up catching the tip. I just don't feel like we can put all the problems that happened at Auburn and or down the stretch for LSU all on TJ Finley.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly. I mean, I've been true to that point since that game happened. I don't think it was on him. Now, out of coincidence, after that game, we got to see Max Johnson, who I think is the overall better quarterback of the 2.
Yes.
Right now, I'm not sure who has more potential. TJ Finley, I'm telling you, there's a ton of untapped potential in there that people are overlooking. But we did get Max Johnson out of that, which good, cool. But yeah, no, we definitely can't put that all on TJ Finley. And the way that Coach O yelled at him on camera, and you knew what was going on. I mean, you don't miss those cameras. He knew what was happening, and he did it anyway. He embarrassed him. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a fan of tough coaching, but man, a true freshman quarterback on the road and
when he's overperformed from what everybody expected,
exactly. That's
win that game in Jordan. that's like a law.
Yeah, that's tough. And I mean, honestly, Brandon, when I'm looking at the quarterback, so when Max Johnson and TJ Finley both came in, Max Johnson's almost at an advantage just based on his pedigree to be ready to play right away, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude comes from a football family. There's no, that dude has football in his blood. TJ Finley might have been, I guess, arguably the better recruit, Brandon, but I just felt like he had a little bit more to go. And I think, like you said, he has so much untapped potential, and he just wasn't ready. And I really, truly, Brandon, I want to hear your opinion on this. Looking back now, I mean, hindsight is 2020. I'm kind of surprised Max Johnson wasn't the pick over TJ Finley to start.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people were saying in the LSU community anyway. But, at the end of the day, they had their QB battle during practice, and, no one saw what happened. So, I mean, who's to say what happened behind the scenes there?
Right. And so now we got to look at this, Brandon. Bo Nix versus TJ Finley. Pros and cons here, Brandon. Who do you think should be the starter for Auburn in 2021?
I'm going to go ahead and stick with my take that I had about a week ago as well, that I'm not sure that TJ Finley will start the season, but I think at some point in the season he will be the starting quarterback. I think TJ Finley is the better quarterback of the 2, and both of them are kind of coming in I'm not going to say at an even advantage here, but it's almost an even playing field because, I mean, take your point that you said earlier, Zach. Harsin did not recruit Bo Nix. And if he's recruiting TJ Finley this hard, it sounds like maybe he's a TJ Finley fan. Maybe he sees a lot of potential in this kid, and maybe that's who he wants to run his offense through. Because I don't think you go out and you win that recruit over Alabama and Penn State if you aren't telling him something. You know, this kid who has made it very publicly known that he wants to go in somewhere and he wants to start. If he didn't know something about Auburn that we I guess don't 100% know, I don't think he ends up there. Because guess what? That Penn State job's not unbeatable. You know, I think that's something that he could have walked into and maybe wouldn't have started immediately, but maybe would have played this season. Maybe he would have started next season. Alabama, he wasn't going to start at all, so let's throw them off the table. But I think that there were a few promises made on these recruiting trips to TJ Finley. So I think that he deserves to be the starter here at Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, as an Auburn, so I don't know how to come at this. Like, as an analyst for the Bluebloods or like a fan, like the fan perspective is, all right, Bo Nix, time to transfer out, buddy. Pack your stuff, head out of town, my guy. I'll see you on the flip side. You can transfer to LSU. You can go compete with Max Johnson and them boys. But you know, you can look all you want at Harsin's offenses at Boise State. You can look at Mike Bobo's offenses all over the place. This is going to sound crazy, and you know, I'll get to why it might work. But I think TJ Finley fits Brian Harsin's systems better than Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Because as shocking as it is, Bo Nix is the more dual threat guy out of the two.
He is. No, that's not.
He absolutely is.
We're not even hiding that. Max Johnson was the better dual threat quarterback out of him and TJ Finley. Yeah. TJ Finley can move, but he cannot move like that.
No, he does have he's too big, man. He's like 6'7". Like, this dude's giant.
He's 6'6", 250. That's wild.
Monstrous. But, and you know, people have biases about analyzing quarterbacks. This dude's true pocket presence. And for Harsin, I think Harsin and Bobo, the offense is going to have to be this, Brandon. You're going to have to give the ball to Tank Bigsby 20 to 30 times a game. He's going to have to be the focal point of your offense. And you need a quarterback that, one, can be accurate when it needs to be, and two, push the ball down the field and keep the defense honest. And when I look at the two quarterbacks, Nix has struggled a lot on deep balls and being super accurate. Finley has a much liver arm. Finley wins the arm strength battle between Nix and him. And, you know, he wasn't the most accurate quarterback when he's had his time at LSU last year, but he was also much younger. And now he has that road experience in the SEC. We've seen Nix choke. Nix chokes harder than the Clippers in the playoffs when it comes to road games, or Clayton Kershaw in the World Series, whatever you want to get at. But I think Finley with the stronger arm, he's younger, and if he can come in and learn the playbook, I think Finley fits what Harsin and Bobo need as a quarterback better than Bo Nix does.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to take your word for it here, Zach, because I'm not over here studying Brian Harsin's offense. Like, I know that you are. But yeah, man, I've talked to you guys about his size and about his arm strength. And I think, you know, one of the parts of the potential that I've been sitting over here talking about, I can say potential all day. You don't know what it means. He has the potential to be a mobile quarterback, Zach. He really does. I mean, with the frame that he has, it's not like he's like Jamarcus Russell. He's not fat. He's not a fat quarterback. He's just a big dude. You know, I said 6'6", 250. He may be closer to 240. But look at him. I mean, he doesn't look unathletic is the thing. So I think you get him trained up a little bit, maybe even take 10 pounds off, get him down to 230, 235. He still has that size, and maybe he's a little bit more mobile. But with Tank Bigsby in that Auburn offense, man, I don't think you need to be mobile. You really don't.
No, and the other thing is we saw Finley, so to a fault almost, Brandon, not escape the pocket as much. And because he's a pocket guy. Bo Nix escapes the pocket too quickly. Yeah. I think Harsin's looking at that like, we can work with this. It's a lot easier to teach a guy how to, you know, escape the pocket only when needed, rather than teach a guy who escapes the pocket all the time to stay in the pocket when they're all doing that. It's hard to program that internal clock that quarterbacks have, you know. But for Finley, though, Brandon, too, is I think he also has a quicker throwing release than Nix, too.
Yeah.
he can get rid of the ball so fast, and it's due to how big and strong he is because he can just get it out when pressure's needed. And with the questions surrounding this Auburn offensive line, a bigger quarterback with a quicker release and a stronger arm might be the way to go if you're Auburn, because he's not going to have to win games for Auburn, Brandon. Tank Bigsby is going to win games for Auburn.
Right.
TJ Finley just has to not lose games for Auburn, and we've seen Bo Nix lose games for Auburn.
Yeah, Bo Nix has lost a handful of games for Auburn.
Yes, exactly. So, and yes, TJ Finley threw 5 interceptions. He played the best of the best last year, guys. And when he didn't, ask South Carolina and Arkansas what they thought about him.
Yeah, an Arkansas team that wasn't all that bad either.
That's true. That's true. And South Carolina wasn't bad either.
You're just saying that because they beat Auburn.
Well, not that, but I mean, they had Shiloh Sanders. They had J.C. Horn. That secondary was probably the strength of South Carolina last year.
Yeah, that's true.
And hey, it's funny because guess who was the offensive coordinator for South Carolina and watched TJ Finley tear him up last year?
Mike Bobo?
Mike Bobo was the offensive coordinator. So he got to see it firsthand, guys, and now that could be his quarterback of the future. And even if Finley doesn't start, let's say Nix wins, I don't think there's any way TJ Finley is not the starter in 2022 for Auburn.
No, he for sure is.
I absolutely think, and I think even if he doesn't win the starting role, we've seen Harsin, Brandon. Boise State has run a 2-quarterback system before. TJ Finley is going to get his shot, guys. And with 2 opening games, so hang on. I'm actually going to look this up so I don't mess up the teams' names. That Penn State game, Brandon, does not come till week 3.
Okay.
You have Akron and Alabama State the first 2 weeks of the year. So and then you got to go to Penn State. So we have time to figure this out if you're Auburn. And then after Penn State, you get Georgia State. So you have 3 of your first 4 games to kind of work this out before you head to Death Valley, LSU week 5. And Brandon, let's address this real quick. If TJ Finley is the starter for Auburn week 5 going into Death Valley, that is going to has to be the game of the week. That is going to be an electric stadium.
No, it's going to be the best day of my life. We're going to have Zach. You have to fly down here if that happens.
I'm already flying down. I'm getting the plane. We're coming down for that game. Do not worry.
There's a big story. There's something going on for that game. Just wait for it. It's going to happen.
That's true. Bluebloods live from Baton Rouge? Question mark.
We're going to tease it. Okay. But yeah, man, that's for sure. That might be game day, honestly.
And if it's not, we'll have Bluebloods game day in Baton Rouge. We'll even get some LSU fans to come by the set. But guys, let us know what you think about this transfer. If you're an Auburn fan, are you happy to have Finley? Do you think he could be the starter? And what do you think of him? LSU fans, if you found your way to this video, do you even care you lost TJ Finley? I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, what do you think? And Brandon, you know how the LSU Auburn rivalry is such a weird one. Like me and you could go have a whole episode about just the crazy stuff with the fire, the earthquake game, the last second possessions, the streak. This rivalry has had anything and everything. It has not had a transfer quarterback win a game to end a streak that's been going on longer than my sister's been alive. If TJ Finley breaks the streak, Brandon, do you know the chaos that's going to ensue?
That stadium's going to burn down.
I love it.
That or more trees will get poisoned. We don't know.
That's true. Hey, at least the game's in Baton Rouge.
It's true. Well, the game
was in Tuscaloosa. That's true. You're right. And then that LSU fan set the other tree on fire. It's a tough look.
You forget about that. I forgot about that. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if he was an LSU fan. I think this dude was like a foreign student or something like that and just did it because. And I was like, odd choice of action there. Now you're in jail. So fair enough. But guys, that is a wrap on this episode, man. Comment below your opinions on this transfer, what y'all think about Auburn and LSU moving forward. Guys, big announcements coming soon. Naming our 5 winners tomorrow. I know it was supposed to be today. We had some stuff to work out. We postponed it. Get off our back. We'll announce it tomorrow, and we picked 5 winners. So make sure to subscribe to enter yourself in the 300 subscriber giveaway, man. I can't believe we're already where we are. Road to 1K here on the Bluebloods. But as always, Monday through Friday, the 2-minute drill right here on YouTube. We're continuing. I think we got 5 Pac-12 in 31 days this week, guys, and 1 for every day of the week. yesterday, the Oregon one came out. Today we have Stanford, and tomorrow we have Arizona. Those are the first 3 of the week. We'll announce later which ones are coming out Thursday and Friday. But we appreciate all y'all support, man. We'll be back tomorrow with another 2-minute drill. But for B-Dub, myself, the 2-minute drill, and the Blue Bloods, we are out.